to try some hydroponics. You know, every time you go to the hardware store and you go at the PVC or the gutter section, you remember those YouTube videos and you think of what you can make out of them. So I found this one on Amazon. It was listed for like $100, but then it had been discounted down to $60. And when I thought about it, I didn't think I could, you know, buy all the pieces and parts and everything put together for $60. So I actually bought 2 of them. I put one together just to kind of start with, and then I'm gonna just do an unboxing for you to kind of show you how it came out of the package. I've seen some comments that people said it was really hard to put together, or that it was really rickety or whatever. I'll kind of address that stuff as I talk about it, put it together, but here's the final product. One of the things I was actually going to do now that I put it together is run some water through this one and see if it works. But I will also do the unboxing of the other one and put the other one together so that you can see how they go together, see if it's something that I would recommend. I would have to say that, first off, I think when I put it together, it's a lot smaller than I thought it was from the pictures, although I really can't blame the vendor for that, because they provided all the dimensions and everything. It just, I just really couldn't visualize it from the pictures. It seemed a lot bigger. You know, the net cups, I'll show you the net cups in a bit, but they're really, really tiny. And the holes are pretty tiny as well. So that gives you a perspective of, you know, these aren't, you know, 2-inch pipes here. They're a lot smaller. All right, so let's get to it. And in case you're wondering where I'm at, I'm in the basement of one of the houses I own. This basement doesn't get any use at all. It's just a big empty space. So I figured I'd try, seeing I can utilize it here during the winters. I live in Indiana, so it's kind of gray and no fun in the winter here. So if I can use this room for kind of some entertainment for me in the winter, that'd be great. So also, I was mentioned that some of these pieces are deceptively small from some of the advertisement. Like I could tell from the advertisements in the ad for the hydroponic system that these net cups were smaller, but I would say these are like about the size of a shot glass. That's how small they are. The other thing that kind of surprised me is, you know, it does come with a pump and a timer and everything, which is kind of amazing again for the price. But like, here's the pump again, compared to the size of my thumb, and you get a sense that, you know, it's really, really tiny. So we'll see how it does. So one of the things that I kind of like from a design perspective about this thing is that the water flows through it in a back and forth pattern. And at first, when you're putting it together, you're not really sure how that's going to work, and then how the return into the bucket, the fertilizer bucket's going to go. But let me give you kind of a brief rundown of how that works. So you can see here that the hose comes up and goes through this T, and then it goes up to the top where there's a little nipple that it attaches to that gets it into the top of this unit. From there, the water splits and goes either way and goes across. So you might be asking, well, does it go down here? Well, on this side it doesn't, because there's this little cup inside here that prevents the water from going down. And so the water will flow across over to here, and then this side really is just for support. And then it will flow down the leg on this side, and again there's kind of a stopper here at this side that causes the water to flow back across this way, and then it will flow down this leg, and there's a stopper here that causes it to flow back this way, down, back across again, and then finally down into this T, and across into that middle T and down into your bucket. So your bucket would sit directly below that hole, and both the intake
and output would come out that same hole. And so you would just drill one hole in your fertilizer bucket. Some of you might have noticed that, I put some string at places. This is to address some of the flimsiness that people have kind of mentioned in some of the comments about this. What I find is, none of the connectors are glued at all. They all just fit in to one another and then are kind of held in by force. And so what I found is that there's a tendency, if you move it around or put pressure on one side, it will kind of spread the legs, particularly on this end, because there's no support. So I put supports at the top and the bottom. On this end, I put this additional string on the top to keep the two sides together, and at the bottom it already had the cross beam from the drainage pipe there. So once you do that, it's actually pretty firm. It's kind of feels like a sawhorse or something like that. The only thing I'm curious about is how much water drips out of the connectors since they're not glued. And I understand the reason not to glue them, so that you can have the ability to take them apart and clean it. And it does come with Teflon tape. I think you're supposed to wrap the Teflon tape around every joint, but I'm going to see how it does without doing that first, and then we'll address any leaks later. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to attach the pump, which is just slips onto the end of the tubing that they provide. Then that will connect into a piece that has a timer in it, and then that will connect into a voltage adapter so you can plug it into the wall. Let me put that together. So I thought of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the power connector for the pump up through here before I put the fill pipe down through there. And that way, that hole serves two purposes. So now you can kind of see the full assembly. There's the pipe. It goes up through the hole, then it comes and connects over here, and then this is the timer device that I haven't quite figured out how it works. It's got a couple buttons on it that you can push. They go red and green, both of them. So far, I can feel the pump running, but pushing the buttons has no effect. And then that connects over here and goes to the wall pump. So I'm just going to this is just a plain old bucket of water, and I'm gonna lift it up and slide the bucket under, and there we go. So I'm not sure I feel any water up here yet. Oh, I don't think you can see it or not, but there is water in the bottom of both pipes at this time. I'm going to let that run a bit, make sure it gets down to all of them. I can feel water in this one, so it's obviously running across. Just dry my hands off. Don't feel any here yet. Maybe the beginnings of it. So slowly but surely, it's making its way. And one thing I was curious about is how well it distributed water between the two pipes. I'll kind of monitor it and let you guys know. So a couple things. This is probably like a 2-gallon bucket, and I know you would want something covered, but right now I'm just using the bucket in lieu of anything else I have at the moment. But it used up a good, say, 2/3 of that bucket, and I had to put more water in it. So just filling the entire system to where it was running back down took about maybe a little over a gallon and a half in order to fill the entire system. Now that it has filled, it was running and it was draining out the drain hole. And something else I noticed is that the pump has stopped now and only one of the green lights is on. And so it's doing its timer functions. I don't know what they're set to, but it is going on and off. I do see some water back there, but I can't tell where it's coming from, so it may just be water I spilled. I'm gonna keep watching that because I can't see anywhere where there's water exiting the structure, but there's a puddle on the floor back there. Another thing is I tried one of the net cups and put it in here and to see, well, now that it's not running, I don't feel it wet, but when it was running, there was definitely water at the bottom of the net cup.